Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those wonderfully absorbing prayers. Just focuses our minds, calms them down. That's the effect prayers always have on us. Similar to prayers, yoga and meditation are the other ways or other paths or other props, if you want to call them, that enrich our lives, calm our minds when so much is happening around us. And I used to be a student in Prashant Nilayam, Puttaparthi. And over there, in our hostel days, we were encouraged to train in yoga. And there was a yoga master. I mean, he was a very superb master, but I wasn't a great disciple. So no reflection on him. But I can't just bend anything. My body is pretty stiff. It just doesn't do anything at all. But he was so wonderful. And over the years then, he went on. He was much senior to me. He went on to do his PhD in Baba's institutions. And he was the most distinguished alumnus. And there's only one gold medal that was ever given by Bhagavan Baba in yoga, specifically for yoga, and that was awarded to him because of the yogic practices and his dedication to yoga, which we all used to see. He then went on to the US and had a corporate banking career, but around, I think probably 12 years ago or something, he decided to give that up and focus his life completely on yoga and meditation. This is his second time in UK. Probably about 12 years ago, he had come to address some of the young adults who were very keen to know of his experience and his wisdom. The other thing that was quite unique was that he was with Baba, and he had observed Baba's, very closely. Baba allowed him to do that, and he had some wonderful experiences there. And there were many yogic masters, from India and overseas, who used to come to Baba's presence, and he was encouraged by Baba to learn from them as well. So, without much more of suspense, this is our chief guest, our guest speaker today, Dr. Sunder Iyer. And I have great privilege in inviting him on stage. Dr. Sunder Iyer. Baba performed his wedding to his wife Maya, who is now in the US, came on his own. She's also a busy kind of food and nutrition practitioner, giving advice on balanced diet and good health. So if he's in good health, I'm sure she too is responsible. So with those words, I invite you on stage, Dr. Sunder Iyer.
Sai Ram. Dear sisters and brothers of this wonderful family of love, service and Sai. It gives me a great honor to be here, to be able to share a few of my thoughts on this very auspicious occasion of not just wonderful charities being together, but also on the occasion of Baba's Mahasamadhi. On April 24th, 2011, Baba left his mortal coil. And today here we are, thousands of miles away from that place, reminiscing his presence, his teachings, the energy that is very much alive in every heart that is present here today. And therefore, the honor never ceases to be able to share these moments with you all and to share my thoughts and offer it at the feet of my beloved Master. It was one day, a quiet day, about 3 or 4 years into my staying with Baba. I stayed with him for over 15 years. I was 17 when I went to his feet. I was not a devotee, neither were my parents. I was sent there by my parents because the education was free. It was very convenient for our family to get this troubled teenager out of the house into a place where there is free education, win-win situation for them and for me too. I was away from my parents. Nobody telling me to study, study, study. Little did I know that I was getting into something so huge that will transform my life. When I went there, all I wanted was a degree. My father had already decided, I'm an accountant, you get your degree and you come, my job will become your job, you become an accountant, and it was all, my fate was sealed. In my generations, everybody in the family decided what I was supposed to do. Some of you may relate to that. But little did I realize that I was in for the greatest spiritual adventure that continues to be as glamorous, as mysterious, as powerful, as wonderful as it was the very first day I saw him. 45 years has been in his presence. 18 years before that. So at the age of 63 now I stand here, still as the very same teenager, humbled by the amount of wisdom that is there in this universe, humbled by the amount of opportunity that is there in this universe, humbled by the fact that there is so much divinity in every being, human, animal, trees, plants, that we get to share that consciousness, how small we are as individuals, how magnificent we are as a group. Unity is divinity. So here I was in his room one morning, having had prayed to Baba, being inspired by him as a young boy, watching that intense life of complete integrity, complete dedication. Because when Baba asked me, one of his very early days of my getting used to him, my trying to understand who he was, when he had asked me, what do you want? I said, I want to be in your room. Not an audacious boy, but genuine curiosity. What does he do there? Does he have a television in his room? Does he have a sofa? What does he do for entertainment? How big is his bed? How comfortable is he inside there? If he has a throne like this, and if he has got a Mercedes-Benz to go around, I wonder what's up there. I wanted to know for myself. I got this opportunity. I asked him and he said, Acha, kal se how? Comes from tomorrow, he said, with no hesitation even for a second. And the months that followed were the greatest eye-openers of my life. I saw that integrity, that dedication, that intensity, that purity, the willingness, the ability and the excellence of giving. And so it was that I got inspired and I started praying that I want to serve this master, be a part of whatever it is that he was doing. So that morning, as he was going through his mails, he opened an envelope and he was seeing something, and then he tossed, it was a card, and then he tossed it, he flicked it like this towards me. I was sitting there at his feet and I grabbed it and I didn't know what to do, and he just did like this, saying, read it. And I opened it and there was this beautiful poem, the poem of Saint Francis of Assisi. Make me an instrument of thy peace, my Lord. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And the prayer goes on. I just loved the prayer as I read it, and I looked up at him. He smiled. I took it as a sign that should be my prayer. That should be my aim, to serve him, to be an instrument. An instrument has no agenda of its own. The flute doesn't decide what tunes to play, nor does the harmonium decide what ragas to play. The flute becomes hollow and ready for the master to play. And that's a symbolism of Krishna holding the flute. The conch in Shiva's hands and Vishnu's hands does not decide how loud the sound should be, how pure the sound should be. It just stays hollow. And Krishna decides to blow it. Shiva decides to blow the conch. So for many months, I started chanting that prayer. It gave me peace. It gave me a sense of direction, a sense of grounding as to what service means. True service, as Baba would explain to us, is real yoga. You would often call me a vanara, a monkey. Your monkey exercises, that even a trained monkey can do all these poses, he said once after I demonstrated something in front of him very proudly. I went into a shoulder stand and I flipped into a headstand. And he said, even monkeys can do that. That's a circus thing. He didn't stop me from doing those though. He said, yeah, keep doing it and teach others, but that's not yoga. And he opened my mind to what true yoga is. And one of the most important parts, facets of yoga, he said, was service. Yoga karmasu kausalam, says the Bhagavad Gita. The true yoga is the yoga of service, where you begin to give selflessly, with no agenda, with no thoughts of where will this be. So when we step out to this world, we don't transform anyone, we transform ourselves. We enjoy the process of giving, because it is in giving that we truly receive, as this prayer taught me. Baba would call me on many occasions to speak in his presence. And so once after I spoke, I ended my speech with this prayer. I said, I would like to offer a prayer at Baba's feet, and I recited this prayer of the Saint Francis of Assisi, make me an instrument of thy peace. He loved my talk, he loved the prayer, and I went to touch his feet. He said, good, good, good. I was very happy. I knew I had my prayer, my japa, my meditation, if you will. Many years passed. In those years, I saw more of that intensity of giving. My dear sisters and brothers, you have seen Baba giving in functions, perhaps, where there are cameras and people watching. I have seen him give in the privacy of his room. He did things when even nobody was watching. That was his nature. There was excellence in the act of giving. He once asked us to give clothes to victims of a flood. All of us discarded our old clothes as we normally do. Oh, we have to donate. Okay, let me see what I don't need. And we give away what we don't need, things that are old. He called us and he said, how dare you give your old clothes to people who have no clothes? Give the ones you like. Did you even think you could give the clothes that you want to wear? Give those away. And so he said, I threw away all your clothes and I've given on your behalf. I've sent brand new clothes to these people. It was my parents' 60th birthday, and Baba sent a sari for my mother. The person who brought this sari from Baba's room asked my mother, what is the special puja you are doing? What is that special worship you are doing? And my mother was very humbly receiving the sari. She said, I am not saying anything. I didn't do anything. But why are you saying this? I was there, and he said, I don't know, but Baba opened the cupboard in his room. His rooms were just full. It was like a storehouse, a warehouse, if you will. He had a small, little, tiny room, but 10 by 12 feet. There was his bed, and 10 by 12 feet was his living room. Rest was all storehouse, all boxes and boxes and boxes of things that devotees would donate for him to pass on. And so I believe he opened the cupboard, and he's asking this person, well, I have to give a sari to Sunder Iyer's mother. Her skin color is dark like mine. What color would suit her? Why would Baba worry about one sari being given to one person? every single little act of his was filled with this excellence of giving. To me, that is my takeaway from Swami. The magic word to give, but give excellence. Search for excellence in giving. We only have the rights to act. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Never ever do we have rights to the fruits of the action. And some of you, young as you are, might ask, then what's the point in acting? And that's exactly the point in acting. Focus on the excellence of giving. Leave the results to take care of itself. We serve selflessly. We serve in unison. We serve for the joy of serving. What that service does, how somebody receives it, whether they value it, whether they don't value it, it really doesn't matter. Jesus gave so many sermons from the Mount. More than 90% of them came for healing, came for food, came for blessings. Nobody came to listen to his sermons, but did that stop him? No. Baba gave so many sermons. Most of them we are fortunate to have recorded. We go to him, we seek this and that and that. But the wisdom that he had come to give is what is the real treasure. And so every little act, Baba brought excellence in that. A day before his birthday, Baba came to our rehearsal, because we students would put a play every time. There was World Conference, 1990, and there was convocation on November 22nd. The President of India was there. The night before, the evening before this convocation, Baba came and saw our rehearsal of the play for the final time, the final rehearsals. And I had the opportunity to write this play and work with him in making this and putting this play together. And so he watched the rehearsal, and as he was going towards his car, I ran to the car, opened the door and waited, just so as he would get into his car, if he had any last minute instructions, he would tell me, hey, do this properly, the mic was not good, or something or the other. And so I stood there with my hands folded, waiting for Baba, and as he passed and was about to sit into the car, because my hands were folded, on my shirt there was a tiny little tear. Tiny, so tiny that even I didn't notice. Perhaps it got caught somewhere and there was a little tear. Baba's eyes fell on that. He was always quick. Even the smallest little imperfection bothered him. So he looked at that, he poked his finger into that and he said, Chi, 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 ganda, kya hai ye? What is this? And I just sheepishly smiled because I didn't know what to say. I felt very embarrassed. And Baba got into this car and went away. And I just thought, okay, my Swami is happy with the drama. And that was all I was thinking of, November 22nd, early in the morning, Baba opens the door for darshan. For those of you who have been Puttaparthi a day before his birthday, on his birthday, especially during World Conference, you have an idea of how many people would have been gathered, right? Thousands and thousands of gathered. Right across the door on a chair is sitting the President of India. Baba opens the door with a little brown bag in his hand. And he comes out and he steps into the bhajan room that is just by the side. He looks where the boys are sitting and he asks them, where is Sunder Iyer? And I get up, shocked that he's asking for me first thing. And then he flings that brown paper bag towards me. He said, there is a shirt piece, stitch a good shirt for yourself. How many of us have organized functions where we didn't have time for the little things? We would delegate them. Hey, I don't have time for this. You do this and this. I want to take care of the big things. And we think we're taking care of the big picture. Where we let the little things let go. But Baba took care of the little things, and in those little things lay his divinity. In that little acts of care and concern, with one individual at a time, he could take care with thousands at a time. Ano Raniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, it is said in the Vedas, that God's acts are found in the smallest of the smallest and the largest of the largest. The tenderest leaves that quiver in the morning sun also experiences divinity as much as the large mountains and the large seas. Years passed, I got a chance to talk once more, and then I said, I might repeat that prayer again in Swami's presence, because he might have kind of forgotten that I said it 4 years ago. So let me say that again, because I was running out of poems and songs, right? And so once again, after my speech in Baba's presence, which was always one wonderful, wonderful thing, I said, make me an instrument of thy peace, and I said the prayer. Next day morning, of course Baba liked it, and next day morning he comes to me, he says, I liked your talk, but about your prayer. I paused, because I thought he's going to say, good, keep it up, right? He's the one who threw that card at me. He said, about your prayer, who are you to say, make me an instrument? Why are you giving me an order? Make me an instrument, make me a cup of tea, make me a coffee, make me an instrument. Of course, he spoke to me in Telugu, but... And then he looked at a VIP professor, V.K. Narasimhan, who was the editor of Hindu, and he said, am I right? And of course, he said, yes, Swami, you're perfectly correct. And Swami said, see, who are you to say, make me? Now, do I dare tell him, wait a minute, that's the prayer, that's the printed one. You gave me that prayer. I was dumbfounded, I kept quiet. And he said, don't say make me, say, may I be an instrument. Bring humility. And I was like, oh my God, I never even thought of it. And therefore my prayers changed to, may I be an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, may I so love. That brought an element of humility. I didn't have to wait, say, you make me. I don't know, you make me when you're ready, I'll know. You know, sometimes we wait for liberation to come. Baba will give us, but we'll be exactly where we are. We'll watch our CNN and sports and politics. Baba will take care of us. We are waiting. Guess what? We'll be waiting forever. So make me had an element of waiting perhaps. So he said, may I. There was an element of co-working with the divine. May I do this? May I please? And therefore that became my prayer. And that continued for many, many years. After about 10 years of stay, or 10 or 12 years, there was a chance Baba started going back to Kodaikanal in the summer. And so I was one of the first batches. He took a few of us. And there were about 45 or 50 days. Every day I had to speak in Baba's presence. I was running out of material. I ran out of all my poems. And then, therefore, one day I said, well, it's time for me to bring this ace prayer out. May I be an instrument of thy peace. And therefore, after my short speech next to Swami, in Kodaikanal, it was a very cozy atmosphere. Baba would sit right in a sofa and you would stand right next to him. Almost he would nudge you if he has to stop you from just continuing to talk. He would just nudge you and you would say, okay, Swami, I'm done, and take namaskar. So right next to him, I chanted this prayer, may I be. I looked at him. And with all humility and joy, I said, may I be an instrument of thy peace. I finished my prayer and I bent down and touched his feet. And Swami looked at me and said, how many more years, like a beggar, you will say, may I, may I, may I. Inke enta sepu beggar laga itla chepte untavu, he said. And he made this face, may I, may I. What is this? Like a beggar, may I, may I. And then came the most beautiful, beautiful statement. He said, when are you going to say, I am an instrument of your peace? I am an instrument. Eppudu cheptavu? When are you going to say that? I am an instrument. And therefore, from that day till today, this is my prayer. You may call it affirmation, you may call it prayer, it doesn't matter. I am an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, I so love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is despair, hope. From this moment on, I will not seek as much to be loved as I will seek out to love. I will not seek as much to be pardoned as I will seek out to pardon. I will not seek as much to receive as I will seek out to give, for it is in giving that I truly receive. It is in pardoning that I am truly pardoned. It is in dying that I am born to eternal life. Let us be proud and humble at the same time, proud to be His instruments of God. Proud because we have taken this golden opportunity, at the same time humble and grateful that we were allowed to serve this beautiful life, use this as service. We often feel, who am I to do this alone? We all get together. The idea of getting together and doing is certainly a wonderful idea, but my dear brothers and sisters, you all know this. I don't have to tell you, there are challenges, right? It takes two to tango. I don't know about 4 or 6 or 10. Get together in unity and serve. But even in that unity, every organization, every charity needs what I call a second hand. And why do I call it a second hand? It's because I learned this from Swami. One day Baba was sitting in the chair. He was having a sore throat. He was like, I would put it quote unquote, pardon me for saying this, but he was not feeling well. I say pardon me is because what we saw of Baba was a fraction of who he truly was. And therefore, my colleague sitting next to me, we were pressing his feet. He said, Baba, don't go for darshan. Take rest today. And almost instantly, Baba looked at him and he said, you see the clock behind you? And we turned and saw the clock. And he said, which is the most important hand in that clock? We kept quiet. We didn't answer because by then we knew wise not to answer. He said, the hand that you can barely see, the second hand, that is the most important. If that hand stops, the clock comes to a stop. I am the second hand. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. That is my job. I will never stop. That's when I realized how important, how crucial it is for a leader, for one who's inspired. They go non-stop at that mission, completely focused in what one does. Even though I understood this, I didn't have the strength to follow that. For many decades later, it's only when Baba attained Samadhi, I said to myself, enough is enough. I have to dedicate myself to the task he had given me, to revive the ancient teachings of Sanatana Dharma, which is the Dharma, the lifestyle, the unity, the consciousness of God itself, where every human being and every animal and everything in this universe is seen as part of one divine consciousness. There is no separate, there are no two. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. There is only one, we just perceive it as the many. And therefore, we have, in that sense, each of us are alone following that call. Rabindranath Tagore said this beautifully, and end this with this beautiful poem that motivates me at every moment of my life. Along with this prayer, I am the instrument. I also remember this because I saw Baba doing this. He celebrated his uniqueness. He celebrated who he was. He was alone in a sense, but he carried it all on his own. It didn't matter to him if he had 5 devotees, 50 devotees, or 5,000 devotees, or 50,000 devotees. It didn't really matter, as Brother Viru said. He said very clearly, I have not come here to collect followers or doctrines or preach any religion. I've just come to remind you of the duty to love, the obligation to love. Ekla chalo, ekla chalo, ekla chalo re, Rabindranath Tagore says. If no one listens to your call, walk alone. If they, in fear, cower mutely facing the wall and keep quiet, then open your mind, speak out alone. If as you cross the wilderness, they turn away and desert you, then walk along the bloodline track, travel alone. if in the storm-troubled night they dare not hold aloft the light, then ignite your heart with the lightning from that storm, and you become the guiding light. In each one of us, there is this potential, this divine potential to walk alone, to lead the masses. Because it is our duty to celebrate who we are. Every single person in this room is divine. Every single person is unique. Every single person in this room has a purpose in life. Find that purpose. Fulfill that purpose joyfully. Don't worry if you're tall or short or dark or white or rich or poor, healthy, sick, old, young. None of that matters. Just begin to celebrate. Celebrate who you are. Because in you lies our beloved Sai. Jai Sai Ram.